Breaking news and breaking hearts. Steve, you dog. He has huge feet, by the way. I just have to share that again. The sneakers are just overwhelmingly large, and they're very, very white. And we got to get a picture of that, guys, at some point before I leave today. We'll see if we can find one. Joe Concha filling in for the large-footed Steve Malzberg here on Newsmax TV and Newsmax Radio. And Noah, great. We get to transition right to you from Mediaite. Noah, are you on the line, sir?
I am, sir.
How's
Thank
it going?
You for having me. I'm doing great. Very relatively small-footed, but great.
Welcome to the club. Hey, you did a piece this morning on Chuck Todd, and he was remarking that the president is at the low of his presidency. And basically the piece ends with Todd speculating that there might be a shakeup as far as cabinet members are concerned. Here's the thing, and I don't know if you've read Double Down yet, but in the book they talk about how President Obama only met with his cabinet once during an election year in 2012, that he seems to lean on his advisors a lot. So do you think that firing somebody from the cabinet is really going to make a difference when he tends to lean more on the Valerie Jarrett's of the world anyway?
Yeah, Valerie Jarrett's, the David Plouffe, the communication side of things tend to be where, from those obviously who have access, see him leaning a lot on in the cabinet level positions. I mean,
we've seen throughout this presidency, whether it be from the aforementioned Valerie Jarrett or President Obama saying, don't listen to Rush Limbaugh, it's affecting the way we govern in D.C., don't watch Fox News, it's illegitimate. Have you ever seen a president as thin-skinned as President Obama? He's reminded me of Alec Baldwin right now.
He certainly does tend to be a little bit more sensitive to criticism, I think, from the press than a lot of other presidents are. But the media as a foil for presidents has been, a time-honored tradition since the beginning of the political press. And you're going back to literally the founding of the country, that the president the president and the ruling class has been able to blame the press for a lot of their problems. So I don't blame him for that. And frankly, there's no universe in which millions of people losing their health coverage and looking at the prospect of starting a year after an open enrollment period without health coverage isn't a crisis. The fact that it's not leading the evening news every single night and people aren't in the streets is a testament to how the president benefits from the media climate. So his tisking at and scolding the media sort of falls on deaf ears with me, at least.
Joe Concha, Newsmax TV and Radio, here with Noah Rothman of the great Mediaite.com. I want to test something out with you here. No, it's an idea for an article that I'll be doing for Mediaite soon. But George W. Bush, speaking, of presidents and one that rarely talks to the press and never criticizes President Obama. It's funny. You always hear from Clinton and Carter, but you never hear from George W. Bush, 41 or 43, and that just shows you the class of that family. But George W. Bush will be on the Jay Leno show next week, and I'm seeing a pattern. I don't know if you are. Well, first they had Ted Cruz on there, then Mitt Romney, now George W. Bush. Is Jay Leno now the go-to guy for conservatives, where they think they could actually get a fair shake and they're not going to be attacked if they went, say, on Letterman or Stewart?
I don't know. Maybe. That's kind of an interesting theory. Personally, I would be surprised to the point of shocked if George W. Bush broke with his pattern of divorcing himself from the day-to-day politics of things. Everybody wants to get him on record. If he ever got on record by virtue of his own silence over the course of the last 5 years, it would be earth-shattering. It would go everywhere. And the debate would be shifted dramatically from the president's failures and the failure of his administration and his signature policy achievement to the classlessness of the former president beginning to undercut him in the public sphere. So I think that Bush has been very smart. I think a lot of people think he's been very smart by keeping himself out of the limelight and not talking about politics, and I really doubt that he's going to break his silence on Jay Leno's show.
One show that isn't silent is The Five on Fox, and there is a similar show to it called The Cycle on MSNBC, and I was speaking to an executive who said, if Phil Griffin had another word for Gajonas, he would have just called it The Four and put it on at 4 o'clock. But why does why is that show so successful? And I mean by successful, it's usually a top 3 show. And it's just a panel discussion, just like there's been plenty before it. Why does that show do so well? And we got about 2 minutes. And why does The Cycle seem to struggle so much when it's pretty much the same format?
Disagreement. And it used to be much better. When Steve Kornacki and S.C. Cupp were on that program, there was genuine disagreement. It was really a heated debate. And it was fascinating to watch. It was actually a good show. It's a watered-down, hollow version of itself now because there really isn't any debate. And it's just a series of snarky jokes, and people one-up each other with some snark. While there's some genuine friendships on The Five, they actually do have a tendency to really get into each other's faces and have some real heated arguments. And that's what you call compelling television. It's really not rocket science.
My only beef with The Five is I really wish they'd make it 3-on-2. Give me Beckel and Williams and then give me 3 conservatives. And I think it would even be more combative. But, hey, who am I to argue with, doing 500s in the demo at 5 o'clock?
I tend to agree.
So,
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, good stuff. Hey, Noah, I know you're busy, so I'm going to let you get back to work. So I'm sure you're thrilled to do that. But thanks for joining us on a Friday afternoon. And, keep up the great work and say hi to everybody over there. And I've been touting Mediaite since I've been on here. But there is an appetite for what we do, and that is media that judges the media, but we do it kind of in a fun way, and you won't find anybody in cable news who doesn't read our publication. So there's the big Mediaite plug. Ask for a raise. I know I'm going to, and we'll talk to you again soon on Newsmax.
Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, Noah.
Have a good one.
Noah Rothman, Mediaite.com. Great writer, guys. Definitely check him out, and check out Mediaite in general. We're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. We got Tommy Christopher, who is an unabashed liberal, and he's not afraid to say it. We got Andrew Carell, who is a libertarian. You got me, who the heck knows what I'm going to write about, and then we got Noah, who is a conservative, but certainly a pragmatic one. So Mediaite.com. Definitely want you to check it out. Also want you to check out later in the show, we're going to be talking to Sarah Palin. She'll be joining us here at Newsmax TV, Newsmax Radio. I'm Joe Concha.